before I start the video, I know what you guys are thinking. Okay, I know. I need a haircut. And to that, I have one thing to say, all right? Shut up, all right? Just shut up. Just kidding. I would never tell you guys to shut up, okay? I love you guys. But what I will tell you guys to do is look at this thing here. This is a RAMD seal of approval. This seal legally makes you better than everybody else. I'm seriously not joking about that. So if you want this seal, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and you'll get your very own RAMD seal of approval. Go ahead, I'll wait. Thank you. All right, now it's time to get into the video, baby. I gotta warn you guys, all right, this video might be a little bit more ranty than my others, so there may not be as many jokes in this one. I don't know how many of you guys watching actually like edit videos, so you may not even relate to it much, but you know what? I don't care. But you should still watch because please, I've just been thinking these thoughts for a very long time, years actually, to be exact, and I just want to get them out there, all right? I just want to get them off my chest, and I figured I'd do it here because therapy is expensive and YouTube is free. So I'm forcing you guys at gunpoint to be my therapist for the day and let me vent. So let's talk about the wondrous world of editing. Editing is an amazing thing, all right? It's what brings my videos from this, so I'm forcing you guys at gunpoint to be my therapist for the day and let me vent. To this. Isn't this so much better? Look at all the cool stuff I'm doing with my hands. I couldn't do that without editing. And a lot of people tend to describe editing as like a really tedious and boring task, which a lot of the time it is, don't get me wrong, but I love editing, man. I just think it's a super fun process, and it really allows you to stylize your videos however the hell you want. Like if I wanted to add Squidward twerking in the background, I could do that, no problem, and no one could tell me I can't. Why? Because of editing. So I love editing, all right? It's great. But there's just one teeny tiny part of editing that I am not very fond of, and that's Adobe Premiere Pro and Adobe After Effects. Yes, the video editing programs that I use are the worst part of video editing. And it's not like the programs are unusable, okay? Because I pretty much use them every day. But they are a lot closer to unusable than they should be, especially considering the price of these programs, which is the first thing I don't like about Adobe. See, because the competing editing programs, Final Cut Pro and DaVinci Resolve, you just buy these programs once and that's it. You're set. And, you know, they are pretty expensive, I'm not gonna lie, but hey, you pay for it once and then you're not gonna spend another dime. And you don't even have to buy DaVinci Resolve if you don't want to, because the free version is perfectly capable of editing whatever the hell you want. But our nice little friends at Adobe decided that they don't wanna sell their programs. They wanna sell subscriptions to their programs. So you're pretty much gonna be paying for the rest of your life if you wanna use Adobe, and they are not cheap prices. You're gonna be paying $55 a month to use these programs. I mean, for that same price, I could be freed from the shackles of the Matrix by Daddy Tate, but no, I have to fork that money over to Adobe. By the way, that was a callback to my last video. I don't support Andrew Tate, but you should go watch it after this one. It's good. New York Times is calling it a video. Anyways, back to pricing. So yeah, $55 a month. That hurts. I mean, technically you could just buy Premiere Pro, which is the basic video editor, for $21 a month and just leave it at that. But if you're gonna be editing, you're pretty much gonna need more than just Premiere Pro. You're gonna need Photoshop, After Effects in some cases, Adobe Audition I use a lot, Lightroom, so it just makes more sense to buy the whole package. And I hate subscription price models for things that don't need subscription price models, but I would at least respect it if your product was good, you know? But Adobe's video editing products are not good. And I'm not gonna be diving too much into specific examples as to why, because that would make this video like 5 hours long. So I'm gonna boil all of those examples down to one main problem: instability. Because oh my God, these programs are unstable as freak. Specifically Premiere Pro and After Effects. And I'll be the first to admit, all right, when these programs are actually working as intended, oh my God, they are amazing. It's like that scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when Peter sees eternity. I have to imagine it gives you that same feeling of ecstasy. But in my last 5 years of editing, rarely did I have a session where I didn't experience some sort of bug or glitch or error that can range from just a little annoying to project altering. There's always something. There's There's always something. Like, let me just give you a handful of issues off the top of my head that I've been experiencing with Premiere Pro recently. I've been getting a ton of errors related to rendering things. I've been getting a whole bunch of playback errors where I just simply try to scrub through my timeline and then something goes wrong. Exporting these videos, that usually always gives me a problem. There's always something in the video that can't export for some reason, and then I have to find that thing, and then I have to fix it in any way I can, and then re-export it, and then just hope it works. I mean, in extreme cases, Premiere Pro has just like frozen my whole entire computer, so I'd have to restart it and just pray that my project isn't now corrupted. And those are just things off the top of my head, all right? I'm sure there's something else that's been happening that I'm forgetting, but hey, it'll probably just happen to me as I'm editing this video. Hey, editing Ramd here. Spoiler alert, it did. Now keep in mind, all of those examples were just Premiere Pro. After Effects is a completely different beast. After Effects is what made me make this video. Like, I don't know what the deal is with After Effects, but it feels like this whole year, it has just not liked me. It feels like I'm its dad and it's in its teenage rebellious phase because we have just not been getting along. And the biggest issue for me this year is that After Effects has just been so damn slow. Like Windows 95 slow. Now, just to give you guys context for those of you who don't know, After Effects is more like motion graphics and visual effects based, whereas Premiere Pro is just like your standard video editor. So you might be thinking it makes sense that After Effects is a little bit slower because it's more demanding on your computer. And to a certain extent, that should be true, okay? I will give you that. But I don't do extremely intense stuff on After Effects, okay? Like most of the time I'm just doing some basic motion graphic, or I'm just rotoing something out, or I'm doing something very basic, very entry level. Nothing really too intense or demanding. And After Effects is still...
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Very slow. And I honestly do not understand why. Because trust me, I have taken all measures and precautions to make sure that After Effects can run as smoothly as possible. I've changed all the settings that need to be changed. My playback resolution is always set to quarter, never full, because After Effects would probably crash if I left it at full. So I'm doing my part, but After Effects just does not want to cooperate. It's like I'm running the program on a potato. It's that slow. And I don't have a bad computer either. That's what's so mind-boggling about this. I got some pretty good hardware, okay? I got a 3070, I got a 10700K, not the best, but definitely not the worst. 32 gigs of RAM, again, not the best, but definitely not the worst. So my computer isn't top of the line, all right? I don't have any 4090s, I don't have a Threadripper, but it's still pretty good by today's standards. So I do not understand why After Effects is so terrible. And back then when I said that these programs aren't unusable, After Effects kind of is, because I don't really use it anymore. Because on top of the slowness, on top of everything that I've already complained about, there's been this new like weird glitch where every time I open up a project in After Effects, it just completely eats up all my RAM, like 90 to 95%, despite the fact that I'm doing very minimal work. I mean, I would literally just scrub through the timeline of a project and 90% RAM it's eating up. Very frustrating. And it's especially frustrating when, like me, you are an editor for work. This is what you do to make money. So not only do you have to meet deadlines, but you have to meet deadlines with this crap on your shoulder all the time. And I can go on and on about the problems these programs give me, but I'll just cut it off here. You guys get my point. These programs are unstable as freak. And to make matters worse, when you run into a problem, there is never like a clear and concise solution to that problem. You pretty much just have to go down the list of every single possible thing it could be and fix it, and then just kind of hope that the problem is solved. And if it isn't, you go down to the next one and you repeat the process. Like, it is so it is so blood-boilingly frustrating. It's almost like playing a game of Where's Waldo, except the book is 5 miles long and there's someone on top of your shoulders consistently beating you over the head with a crowbar. I'd imagine that troubleshooting feels very much like that. Let me remind you guys, $55 a month for this. And if I was the only person experiencing this instability, then that would be fine. It would be an isolated incident. It would probably be something that I'm doing wrong. I would get that. I would understand. But this frustration and anger that I feel is pretty consistent across the board for Adobe customers. Like, I've watched many videos, I've read many forums, I've even talked to many editors, and they all hate Adobe as much as I do. That's why when I see professionals like in the film industry using Adobe, I don't understand why or even how they can do that. Like, Deadpool was edited on Adobe. Everything Everywhere All at Once was edited on Adobe. SNL uses Adobe for like their video sketches. And that one is especially surprising to me because SNL is editing these sketches almost right up to the point that they're gonna be aired live.
So then it's, quick scramble with the writers, with the director. We have to get shots back from color and overcut those. We have to get new graphics in. And normally we have like an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most, depending on where it's falling in the live show.
The final step is sending the video down to the mix room to get it mixed. And that usually happens 45 minutes before the show is live on TV. Several times we've worked till the last second.
So I cannot comprehend how they have been doing this for years and have not run into something that has like really messed up their whole workflow. And these are big companies, so obviously they would have the budget to have super beefed up computers to handle this, right? But it's not even like having really spec'd out hardware would matter much, because I'd have to imagine even if you're running Adobe on the best computer ever made, there's still gonna be some issue because the software is what's the problem. Like, take Corridor, for example. If you don't know them, they're like one of the biggest channels on YouTube, and all their content revolves around visual effects stuff, so doing visual effects, reacting to visual effects. So the people who work there are like professional visual effects artists and video editors. So you'd imagine they'd have pretty beefed up computers over there. So they have all the resources to run Premiere Pro and After Effects no problem, right? No, because even they hate Adobe, so much so that they released a podcast episode dedicated to how much Adobe sucks.
So Ren made a tweet today, Jake, and we're gonna read through this tweet thread here. Okay. After Effects needs to be rewritten from the ground up, or I'm not using this fucking program anymore. And I kind of have to.
It's one of those kind of tweets.
I kind of have to agree with him, but honestly, it's really Premiere that needs that. I mean, both of them. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And while watching this video, I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking,
Remedy, if you hate Adobe so much, why do you use it?
And that answer is pretty simple. It's because I have to. Because one, I learned editing on Adobe, so I don't want to have to undo 5 years of knowledge and like relearn another program. And two, probably the more frustrating reason, is because Adobe is just good enough to where it's still the best option for me and a lot of other people as opposed to the other editing programs. And a big reason for that is just because all of these apps are under Adobe, so they can all seamlessly work together, and that is still very valuable despite these two being such a big problem. So at least not yet, there really isn't like a true alternative to having access to all of these programs. And the fact that you can use them all in tandem with each other it's a very valuable thing. And Linus Tech Tips actually made a really good video about why that's the case if you want to watch it and just get even more frustrated. But yeah, so I'm just kind of stuck here, suffering. And Adobe knows this, the evil bastards. They are toxic as hell because Adobe customers have been vocal for years about how much their programs suck. And they don't care. I have never seen an effort from Adobe to fix all the issues with their programs. Not one singular effort. Because they know, despite how unstable their programs are, despite how much we rightfully complain about all the problems they give us, at the end of the day, we're still gonna pay for them and we're still gonna use them because we have no other choice. And that pisses me off so much because it's such like a greedy businessman move, right? Because as long as they're getting revenue, which they are, because we have to pay monthly, then they can give less of a crap about the quality of their programs. Because why? We're still gonna use it. It just feels like such a big fat middle finger to me and all the other people that use Adobe products. So, if any of you guys are watching this and you wanna get into editing, please, for the love of God, please stay away from Premiere Pro and stay away from After Effects. Do not fall into this trap. Run away and don't look back, because it is too late for me, okay? Adobe is all I know. I am stuck with them. But if I can save just one soul from the evil clutches that is the Adobe Corporation, then it'll all have been worth it. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. Sorry for being a little angy-wangy in this one, but you know, I said my piece and I already feel a lot better. Thank you. Thank you for being my therapist for the day. I appreciate it. Now I'm gonna go get some pizza and relax, because I deserve it. But before I go, don't forget, legally better than everybody else this will make you. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want one of these bad boys. And make sure that you stay tuned for next week's video, which is gonna be a video. And yeah, that's it. I don't really know how to end this video because I was just kind of complaining the whole time, so there's no like resolution. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna kind of talk and then maybe an ending will come naturally. Are you guys even here still? Probably not.